Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today I am doing a very special tag, and that is the Booktube birthday tag. Now this is different than the birthday book tag that I did last month. This is actually an annual tag that booktubers do, celebrating another year that they have spent on Booktube. This is my first Booktube birthday. I have been on Booktube for a year as of May. I started, my first video went up like May 14th of last year. And man, it has been a ride, and it's been awesome. This has been a really freaking good year as far as, Booktube's concerned. Everything else has just been, in the crapper. Everything else is terrible. It's just garbage, garbage, garbage. Not my wife. My wife's amazing. But my wife and my cats and the dog and Booktube. Those things have been awesome. Everything else just sucks. Just sucks from 2020. But, so I got questions here to answer about my last year on Booktube. So, without wasting any more time, let's get down to business. Question 1, how many years on Booktube are you celebrating? I just answered that. It has been 1 year on Booktube. So, I know some people who are like, yeah, it's my 10th year on Booktube. It is my first year on Booktube. And guys, I am so blessed and so fortunate. I have met some amazing people on Discord and online and in the comments. I have the best patrons on the entirety of Booktube. I've gone everywhere and I've looked and I've surveyed, and my patrons are the best. They're tremendous patrons. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, I could not have asked for a better year as far as Booktube is concerned. I've met people who are just incredible. I talk to them every day. It's just awesome. It's been 1 year. Boosh. That was a good one. All right, question 2. What has kept you motivated to keep making videos? Well, this is a challenging one, because one of the most difficult things is to stay motivated. So one of the things that's motivated me is wanting to talk about books, especially books that I haven't heard a lot about, and to kind of like get out there. Like, it started with Senlin and then went to Greatcoats and then Long Price Quartet and Discworld and now Guns of the Dawn. Like, I want to get out there and tell everybody I know about these books and, try to, crank up the Allen propaganda machine and get everybody to frickin' read them. And so that's a primary motivator. The other thing is productivity begets productivity. And so I know that if I don't, that I will just have more and more pile up. And that's kind of where I've been like the last couple months or so, is just with school being as busy as it is, and, my mental health not being what I want it to be. I've kind of struggled to actually film the videos that I want to film, so I've got a little bit of a backlog, and that kind of overwhelms me. And I don't like being overwhelmed, because, I don't know if you were like this, but you got so much backed up, and it's so overwhelming that instead of just chipping away at it, it's just too much, and you're just like, you know what, I'm just not going to do any of that. I'm just going to, play Mass Effect. And so that's challenging, but also I really like one of the, and I'm not kidding with this, one of the motivations is to see what new GIFs that Evie, the GIF mistress, will produce in the Discord from any particular video. I love seeing what random crap that, guys, I forget what I say the instant I say it. So it's always a great reminder to see what I said in GIF form. It's super exciting. And you always want to also grow the channel. You don't want to stagnate. So that's another motivation to grow and get bigger and not, stagnate. So there's those several reasons, but I really just like making new stuff that I can talk to you guys about. I like, reading and finding new stuff that I can, talk about all the time. I'm the 5-star strumpet. Boosh. Number 3, what are the 3 favorite vids you made in the last year, and why? Well, I'm pretty proud of my Should You Read Discworld? Yes, and Where Should You Start video. It's actually probably my most viewed video. If not, it's one of the, at least, it is the one that consistently gets the most traffic. And that's not surprising, because freaking Discworld is sometimes confusing on where they should start. There's still people that insist you should start with Color of Magic. Don't. Just don't. Don't. It's fine. Like, if you want to start with Color of Magic, that's fine. But the only people who recommend starting with Color of Magic are people who liked Color of Magic when they read it. No Discworld aficionado would ever recommend Color of Magic as a starting point. And just because it was good for you doesn't mean it's good for everyone. Trust me, Color of Magic was the second Discworld I read, and I didn't like it. I mean, I still don't like it. I'm gonna go back and read it. But, so I really like that video. I like being able to help people decide where to go, and it's pushed a lot of people towards guards, and Mort, which pleases me greatly. I also really like, one of the earliest videos that I was proud of is last July, I put up Every Book Can't Be Game of Thrones. And this was before I had read, as widely as I've read now. So I was looking for books to read, and it's also before I'd heard of a lot of things. I didn't have a ton of people that I followed. I didn't talk to a ton of people. I was still really small. And so I hadn't heard a lot about these other books, and so now, I mean, I can kind of, make a judgment call and be like, I've heard that's nothing like Game of Thrones, and I now have other people who are like, whose opinions I trust, where I can decide if something's Game of Thrones. But right then, when I was just looking up books to read, sight unseen, every frickin' blurb, especially from library peer review or whatever that is, like Library Weekly Review, everything was compared to Game of Thrones. Freaking everything. And I think maybe one book on that list was actually like Game of Thrones. Nothing else was. Like, it's just not. Like Rage of Dragons, Gladiator meets Game of Thrones. No. Like, it's not even really all that much like Gladiator, but it's nothing like Game of Thrones. I don't know where they're even getting that. So I really like that video, mostly because that's where Extremely True Stories came from. Posh Allen had a huge cameo. I have not yet done an Extremely True Stories sequel where, I draw the pictures and read a story time. If you have an idea on what you would like to see Extremely True Stories-devised, then let me know. And, maybe Posh Allen will draw some pictures. And the other thing I'm proud of is it's not really a video per se, though I'm proud of some of my reviews. Some of my reviews I really, really like. Some I go back and I'm like, what are you talking about, Alan? But I really like all of the patron skits that I do with Posh Allen and now Suave Allen and now The Gatekeeper. Those are always really fun to do, to try to figure out what new thing I can do. I was in the trunk for one of them. Posh Allen here. In one of them, my poor wife, wonderfully supportive as she is, kneeled down in the dirty air conditioning closet just so she could film through the grate. Posh Allen here. So that I could on the other side be like, oh, I'm sneaking through, just so we get a good camera angle. It's ridiculous. She vetoed me once. I wanted to do one where I popped out of the trash can, like the big blue trash cans you bring to the road. But she's like, Alan, you are not getting in that trash can. I still may do it, but, I really enjoy those. Those are really fun to film, and I think, it's kind of a cool, if I was a patron, I think it would be cool to see my name in some kind of skit, so that's why I do that. I'm really proud of those. I work really hard on those. They take forever to kind of think of, because I want to do something neat. So that's the answer to those. Boosh. Number 4, what have you struggled with on Booktube in the past year, and how did you overcome that struggle? The single biggest struggle that I have with Booktube, and I think a lot of people on Booktube have this same struggle, is the work-life balance. So I work all the freaking time because I'm a teacher, and then I work all the time when I'm home because I'm a teacher, and then I work all the time, if you consider this work, which I do. I mean, I consider it like it's fun. It's way more fun than my other job, but I do consider it work because, it takes a massive amount of effort. So I'm constantly reading or filming or editing, and it is just really hard to thread that needle with doing the work that you need to do to kind of, stay growing and keep people engaged. And, you want to talk on Discord because you're trying to build a community, because that's the whole point, right? Is building the community and engaging with the community. So you want to do all of that. So you want to be at a bunch of places at once and have your fingers in a bunch of different pies. But remember, real life is also a thing as well. And I have a wonderful wife, and I have great friends, and I have family. And sometimes in this past year, I have just not gotten it right, and I have erred on the side of doing work as opposed to erring on the side of spending quality time with my loved ones, or working on other things like watching movies or watching TV. I mean, I haven't let video games fall to the wayside because I'm not really sure how I could do that. But that's really, really hard. Like finding that right balance between getting ahead, working ahead, producing the amount of things you want to produce, and, still having time to, or making time to do the other things that are, arguably more important than what I'm doing here. And so that's been really difficult, and I don't always succeed, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. So I guess I haven't overcome it, other than I have, in this back half of the year, given myself more grace if I miss an upload, if I am not able to get as much work or as many videos filmed or as much done in the week that I want to do. I used to beat myself up like hardcore about that, and I would feel awful, and I wouldn't sleep well, and my stomach, like I'd have anxiety, and like when you got anxiety and your stomach hurts all day and you just like feel like garbage, like it's, the nervous gastrointestinal issues, if thine will. And so I've gotten better about that. And so it is a process. It is a process. Part of it's just being depressed, right? So I'm hoping to get even better about that in this current year. So thank you guys for all the grace that you show me. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Boosh. Number 5, choose one moment from the past year on Booktube that you would like to relive. The moment on Booktube that I would like to relive in the past moment would be this past December when my team, the Snow Misers, completely crushed the competition in the Reindeer Games readathon over at Shelf Space. The victory that we achieved was so epic in proportion. And it was just like, the second place was so far behind us that euphoria of being so dominant among the other teams was a moment that I would, if I had a time machine, go back in time to relive over and over and over again. Because victory tastes sweet.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Tastes so sweet. If I have to pick something else, because I'm certain someone will take umbrage with what I just said, if I had to pick something else, I would go back to either of the two challenges that I failed by one of these stupid Founders Trilogy books by Robert Jackson freaking Bennett, who apparently has books that I can't remember. And I would go back and I would get those right so that I would not fail these challenges. So that would be delightful. Boosh. Number 6, shout out a huge supporter of your channel. So for this one, guys, so many of you have been so incredibly supportive. Not just with your comments or with your community and your friendship, but also with your patronage. Like, it has just been so amazing, and I'm just blown away by how amazing you guys are. Many of the people who I interact with and are huge supporters have Booktube channels as well. So I want to take this moment to shout out a couple people who do not have Booktube channels at this present moment, just because they are less likely to get the acclaim they deserve. Because there's no videos to link to them, and that is Charmaine and Katrina, both of whom were one of my, I think Charmaine may have been like my third patron, and she's been a great coat almost from the beginning. Katrina also was a great coat really early on, and they are just so incredible. They are mods in my Discord. They are the sweetest, kindest, most generous people. They have just been such great friends to my wife and I. And there aren't words enough to thank them for just how much they have supported. They've supported what I'm doing here, what my wife helps me do. They are just incredible, and they just do not get enough. They don't get enough love. So this is me telling you that if you see Charmaine or Katrina, they are incredible, and just amazing. Editing Alan here. So it would be extremely remiss. I would be extremely remiss if I did not also include my buddy Sam, who also does not have a Booktube, but has an Instagram, which I'll link down there in the comments as well. My buddy Sam, he was my very first patron. He is the first Cantor. He has been, he's been a friend of mine since before, like back when, Shelf Space, there was like 7 of us who talked all the time. So Sam is super supportive and fantastic, and has always been, and is just as kind and wonderful as Charmaine and Katrina. And then it is, as I was editing this, I realized that I also need to shout out Jessie at Jessie May, who may be in labor as we speak. Who knows? But Jessie was the very first person to shout out my channel, the very first kind of larger booktuber to shout out my channel, and I doubled I went from like 180 to 360 subscribers like overnight, and then I've just grown since then. So I owe a whole lot to Jesse, who supported my channel really, really early on, and Sam has been a constant companion and is one of my best friends on Booktube. So I definitely needed to make sure that I included them in this as well. There are so many, but I did want to just shout out a couple people who are not on Booktube. I have many friends on Booktube who, guys, I'm so fortunate, so lucky. Boosh! That one went all the way to the other end of the room. You didn't even see it. It was so good. Number 7, what's the best book you've read in the past year? I did not give this book the superb plus rating that it deserved when I rated it this year. In the past year, one of the best books I read was Tyrant's Throne, just because of how it wrapped everything up, book 4 of the Great Coat series. But I think probably my favorite book, the best book I've read over the last year, has been An Autumn War, book 3 of the Long Price Quartet. It definitely is a 6-star book in retrospect, especially considering what Price of Spring did with it. What Autumn War did with the first 2 books, how it elevated the first 2 books, and how it set up the 4th book, which was incredible in and of itself. Autumn War, it is unlike any other book I've ever read. From the prologue, I was hooked with the introduction of the antagonist Ballister Geiss, which is just a cool name, a cool character. Abraham is just such a great plotter. Autumn War was truly something special. Definitely gets the superb plus rating that I also gave to Tyrant's Throne. Autumn War is probably the best book I've read in the last year. But there have been several honorable mentions. Guns of the Dawn was really good and a really just surprising book. Price of Spring, book 4, The Long Price Quartet, was fantastic. I really enjoyed Faithful and the Fallen a lot. The Hod King, Arm of the Sphinx. I've read so many good books. Like, I just get to read a lot of really good books that I like. But Autumn War, for reals. Boosh. Number 8, where do you see your channel in a year's time, and what do you hope to have achieved? Man, I don't know how to answer this. Like, my wife asked me, like, hey, where do we want to be in a year? And I'm like, alive, having a job, being able to afford to eat. I'm not super good at projections. So where do I want to be? I want to still be here. I want to still be having fun doing it. Obviously, I want to grow. I mean, everyone wants to grow. None of us do this with the anticipation of, you know what? I don't ever care if anybody watches it. Like, there's a level of honesty we want to have. Obviously, everyone on Booktube wants to grow. And it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. It can just be because the larger you are, the wider net that your opinions get to cast. Like, more people are reading Senlin or Long Price Quartet or Guards now than when I began, even though I was talking about Senlin as of last summer, and that's just because I reach a wider audience. So obviously I want to grow. I don't have a specific number I want to hit. As long as I'm not, stagnating, I'm fine. I want to grow. I want to still be here. Most importantly, I want my community, I have been incredibly fortunate, to have the community in my Discord is one that is very kind, one that is very polite and nice to each other. We have a channel called the Affirmation Arsenal where you go in there if you're having a bad day, like, hey guys, I'm having a crap day. And then everyone who wants to just types in there, have a good day, this is what we like about you, cheer up, sending cute animal gifts or whatever. It is just a really drama-free community. Even when we disagree. When I hang out in the Malazan channel, I am constantly in disagreement with Jake and supposedly adult child of honor, or supposedly adult of honor, and I guess he's well now, but it used to be Patronus. What did your name used to be? Patronus? No. Petron? No, it's not Petron. Paragon! I have unpopular Malazan opinions. I think Toll the Hounds is D tier at best. That is not a popular opinion. But no one's ever a huge douchebag. Everyone's just like, oh, Alan has bad opinions, and then they proceed to explain to me why I'm wrong. But they don't do it in a douchebag way. They're just like, hey, Alan, you're not right in that. And that's fine. It's all good-natured ribbing. I hope that community continues to grow, but I hope it stays kind and just a fun, low-stress place to hang out and talk about the books you like and meet new friends. And I do hope that I continue to do Jeopardy, that I'm keeping doing Jeopardy, that the channel does, some more read-alongs. We've had a really good time with this Red Rising read-along. So those are the things that I'm hoping of. Like, I just want it to be more of what I'm currently doing. Boosh. And finally, number 9, tag someone whose anniversary is coming up. I have no idea. I think Andy, at Andy Smith, he just hit 3K, so let's give him, the props that he deserves. I think he started his channel in the summer, so I'm going to go ahead and tag Andy. If your Booktube birthday is in the month of May, if you started last May, consider yourself tagged. Guys, I just want to thank you guys again so much. Thank you for such an amazing year on Booktube. I realize that I am effusive with my praise, but guys, I'm sincere about it. I really don't even know how I got to be so fortunate. But thank you guys for watching the content that my wife and I put out here on the channel. Thank you guys for being so engaging. I have the best subscribers. I have the best patrons. I have the best people in Discord. It's pretty freaking awesome. So that's it for me, guys. As always, information about my Discord if you want to join us there, or about my Patreon if you want to support what Christina and I do here. And as always, guys, I'll see you next time.